AI is creating tremendous wealth and will continue to create tremendous wealth. And it's only by democratizing access to AI that we can ensure that this wealth is spread far and wide across society. Building AI systems has been out of reach for most people, but that does not have to be the case. In the coming era for AI, we'll empower everyone to build AI systems for themselves. And I think that will be an incredibly exciting future.
You may already have heard of gold rush in AI engineer and the whole boom of AI that all of the big companies are following. You might be wondering, what is this AI and how we can learn more about this? Whether you want to become an AI engineer, which is a combination of data scientist and software engineer, or you want to be an entrepreneur and provide a AI SaaS and give an API for your AI services, or you are neither of them and you just want to learn how to use the AI and boost your productivity so later on you won't be replaced by someone who already integrated AI in their workflow. I went over 10 plus different AI courses offered by big tech companies like Microsoft and Google and taught by top figures like Andrew Ng in different platforms like deep learning, Coursera and LinkedIn Learning, and come up with a roadmap that can be applied in today's environment for someone who wants to start his journey in learning how to work with AI. And I will summarize the key findings of AI in these courses in less than 10 minutes and then give you the top selected courses that you can follow on your own to get more information. Some of these certificates are not for free, so make sure to see by the end of the video, which I show you how you can get them for free. So now let's get started. Welcome guys to your own channel AI Fun Fact for All, where we talk about AI in a simplified way for our everyday life. For those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Pedram Agan, a PhD student in computer science with over 8 years of experience in AI and machine learning and teaching. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you get more information of this AI for your everyday use. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. In order to become familiar with AI, you need to have two skills, coding and math. But it doesn't mean that if you want to become an AI engineer, you need to be a mathematics or have a computer science degree. As a matter of fact, I can argue, given all of the advancement in AI, the outdated knowledge that are taught in the university are not very useful. So if you look at the statistics, you will see that 41% of the codes that are used in GitHub are generated with AI. And Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA that generate the GPUs that's used for training all of this AI, said that in order to make the A100, which is one of the advanced GPU model, they used AI in order to design that. So not only we are using AI to generate the code or the software, the hardware, the infrastructure that are used to design the code and train the models are also designed with the AI. It is very scary, but that's the truth. So don't get me wrong in here. I'm not saying that all of the skills that you obtain in schools are irrelevant, but definitely you need to come up with a new strategy on how to master these skills. And that's what we are actually going to do in this video. The first step in the roadmap is code. The previous approaches to learn coding is outdated and does not work anymore, so it is totally waste of time. There was a very famous quote in Twitter which once said, the hottest programming language right now is English. So in order to fully understand this, you need to learn how to do low code or no code environment. So it might sound very unintuitive that how you can learn code with no code, but that's actually where coding with AI comes into play. Some knowledge about some concepts in coding, like for example, the data structure, for example, the object-oriented programming, programming or the conditional loops, and for example, how you can add some modules, for example, the NumPy and then the pandas, but definitely you don't need to know the whole, for example, syntaxes. In terms of programming language, I will suggest Python, since it is a script programming, so you don't need to compile your code, and majority of the code in AI and machine learning are written in Python language. And in order to make your life easier, you also need to have an IDE. So IDE stands for Integrated Developer Environment, where you actually help you how to write the code by highlighting the code and also suggesting the structure of the code for you. For that, there are two options that I will definitely suggest. The first one is the VS Code, which is by Microsoft. The good thing about the VS Code is that you can develop lots of very complex project with different modules, and then it can be integrated with AI Assistant Copilot, which we will talk about shortly. And then the second option, which is a little bit easier to start and is very popular for data scientists, is Jupyter Notebook. So for Jupyter Notebook, the good point is that each of the blocks are run separately, and then you can basically very easily spot your error, and it is very good to start. And you can actually use the Google Colab version, which also provide you some of the resources. So as of right now, Google actually provide you for free the GPU T4 and then its TPU version 2. And if you also go to its Pro version, you can also have access to 800. So you can basically run your code regardless of your local machine. If that was a lot to digest, I've got some good news for you. I'm going to host an online summer camp and going to teach learn coding with AI for beginners. There are two cohorts that you need to choose from: cohort youth for the age of 8 to 16 and cohort adult for age 17 plus. I will put the registration link in the description of the video, and for the subscriber of the channel, you can get 40% discount by using AI Fun Fact for All as your coupon. Make sure to put a comment and mention that you have registered to this summer camp. I'm also crafting a course on how to master AI in AI boom era, and you can join the waitlist for free and get beginner perks when the course become available. I put the link in the description as well. The second step in the roadmap is math, but this step is optional, and I will tell you why. The knowledge that we need from math is probabilistic and algebra. So in order to work with data and do the evaluation, we need to have some statistical knowledge to perform this. And also, if you are working with a deep neural network, we need to know how we can apply some differentiation and how this backpropagation and whole concept of learning in AI is computed. But why these are optional is because we are not actually directly applying them, and we don't necessarily need to obtain the knowledge and get a lot of information about them, and we can indirectly learn them. The third step in the roadmap is data structure and algorithm. This step is semi-optional, and the reason is if you are applying for a role in AI engineer, the companies actually require that as a part of your interview process. The main two resources for this step is CS50 by Harvard and LeetCode. But both of these resources are very extensive and require a lot of time to get more information on them and complete all of the tasks. So if it is not the case for you, this is something I did myself. I followed the LeetCode YouTube, which actually provides you a lot of easy to follow instruction on how to tackle some sort of problems in the basically LeetCode. You can consider the simple and medium. If you need more information after that, you can definitely check out Office Pro. I will put the link in the description, and then you can book a one-on-one session to ask your questions specifically about data structure and algorithm. The fourth step in our roadmap is the knowledge from data analysis and data scientists. You might already have heard about the famous quote that data is the new oil. Big companies also mention the reason that make an AI company to become superior from the others is not what kind of resources they have or what kind of network architecture they are using, what are their infrastructure, but it is what data they have available. The beauty of this step is that you will get some indirect knowledge for the probabilistic that was mentioned in the math step. In terms of resources, I will suggest IBM Data Science course. And I also have an EDA, explanatory data analysis, full source code inside the GitHub, which I cover applying simple analysis of tabular data, and you get some information on how to work around with it, and I've implemented in the Streamlit. So I will put the link and you can check it out. The fifth step in our roadmap is version control. This is another optional step, but it will become imperative if you want to go big. For what you can use for version control, I will suggest GitHub by Microsoft, which is actually for free, and you can use it to track your changes, you can use it to collaborate with others, and finally showcase your result. With this, you can get hands-on experience on a lot of real-world projects in Kaggle. You get also access to a lot of free resources. I will put the link in the description below for the list of 8 courses that are free suggested by Microsoft. There's also suggested that you created a cheat sheet for a list of popular commands for the GitHub. I will also put a link for that as well. In the sixth step, we have machine learning. In terms of resources, we have AI for Everyone by Andrew Ng and machine learning specialization. So now I'm going to quickly talk about the gist idea of these 2 courses. So let's first start from the very basic question. What is AI? So AI stands for artificial intelligence, is a field of study, same as physics. And then we have machine learning, which is a subfield of AI. So machine learning is actually trying to train a model to learn from data and try to mimic a behavior. It categorizes to 2 different fields of supervised learning and unsupervised learning. In supervised learning, you are given a labeled data, which means that your data comes with the target values. But then in the unsupervised way, you don't have any label value and you just have some rich data that you have to try to learn some behavior from it. In the supervised way, for example, we can say we have a list of data from the stock market and we are trying to predict the value of a stock given the history of data. And then for the unsupervised, we can say that we are getting a lot of emails and we want to see that which of them are spam and which of them are not. And then as the input, we don't have any labels that which of them are actually a spam email and which one are not. So we try to somehow categorize them without knowing any information of what the actual data was. And then after that, we have deep learning. So deep learning is another subfield of machine learning, which actually tries to use neural network inspired from the human brain in order to come up with a tool that can do this machine learning task in a more effective way. So one thing about deep learning is that they need to train on a larger amount of data. And then they can also have something in between called semi-supervised, which means that you can use some of the samples that you have to generate some pseudo samples and then use them to actually train your model in a supervised manner. Deep learning itself can be divided into 2 subcategories, discriminative and generative. In the discriminative, the deep learning try to classify the model into basically 2 or more classes. So you can consider it as you're giving neural network an image, and it will try to tell you that whether it's a cat or a dog or what. But then on the generative side is when you want to ask the model to generate something with the same probability distribution of data. So it would be like asking the model to generate a new cat or a new dog for you that was never seen inside the data. Deep learning can also be categorized from another perspective, the type of input. It can be as simple as numerical values in a tabular format, such as the stock price prediction, or it can be images in the classification of cat or dog, or it can be even text or audio or video. So the advancement in terms of what source of input we are going to give the model can create a different field of this deep learning or in overall in AI. Right now, the very big advancement that we are hearing is about natural language processing, which is basically the text input. So we are given the input in a sequence of tokens, or basically the words, and we are trying to predict what would be the most probable token after that. That's where large language model or LLM will come into play. So there are a specific type of deep neural network that are using text as their input. LLMs are first pre-trained on massive amount of data in an unsupervised way. And the reason is it's impossible to have a large amount of data that are supervised and have label for it. After they are trained with this massive amount of data, they will create a foundational model. This foundational model can be later fine-tuned into the specific task that you have. For example, it can be a medical application, or it can be, for example, for coding. So later on, you will provide some more data, and usually supervised right now, to the model and try to come up with an approach to fine-tune it and make it specified for your specific task. Seventh step in the roadmap is LLM. And you might ask, why LLM among all of the other machine learning approaches? The first reason is LLM provide an easy and effective way to communicate, because we are actually using the same communications as we use when we are talking to another person. And the second reason is other modalities such as the picture, audio, and video might require a more advanced architecture and resources to become very useful. So for those reasons, LLMs are getting a lot more attention, and that's why we put it as the last step in order to become an AI engineer. To get some insight on the size of this foundational model, we can look at the popular Llama 3 by Meta, and we see that it is using 15 trillion tokens for training. Or there are some rumors for ChatGPT 5 that is using 570 gigabyte of data for training. This is very huge amount of data. In terms of resources, there are numerous courses out there. I'm going to show you 4 and rank them from the top priority to the least priority. The first one is ChatGPT Prompt Engineering for Developer. The second one is Generative AI with Large Language Model course. And then on the number 3, we have Google Intro Generative AI Certificate. And at number 4, we have Career Essential in Generative AI by Microsoft and LinkedIn. As promised in the beginning of the video, now I'm going to show you how you can get the certificate in the Coursera for free. So for that, you need to choose, for example, one courses in here, machine learning specialization. And note in here that you cannot do it for a specialization. You need to choose one of the courses from there. So what you will do, you will come in here and click on financial aid, and then you're gonna choose one course. For example, you're gonna choose first course, and then you're gonna consider continue to the application. And then in here, you're going to choose your education, your annual income. You try to choose something like 0, and then you will say that you're a student. And if in here we'll ask you to why is the reason that you want to apply. I will provide the link for the prompt in here, and then you're gonna say that, okay, I've reviewed my information and it is up to date, and then it will ask you that how much do you want to pay. Again, you can choose 0, and it will ask you how this selected course will help you with your goal. So I will also provide a prompt for that. Make sure to change it for different courses, and you're gonna say, yeah, I'm accurate, and then I'm finishing the course online, and then you're gonna agree, and then click. That is gonna take around 15 days. There's a deadline in terms of timing, so make sure you keep that in mind, that you have enough time to complete the course on time, and then you can actually enjoy it for free. Now let's review the idea of two popular figures in the field of AI on how the AI is going to roll out. The first is Mark Zuckerberg, who said energy, not compute, is going to be the bottleneck of AI.
Over the last few years, I think there's this issue of GPU production.
Yeah.
Right. So even companies that had the money to pay for the GPUs couldn't necessarily get as many as they wanted because there were all these supply constraints.
Yeah.
Now I think that's sort of getting less. So now I think you're seeing a bunch of companies think about, wow, we should just like really invest a lot of money in building out these things. And I think that will go for some period of time. There is a capital question of like, okay, at what point does it stop being worth it to put the capital in? But I actually think before we hit that, you're going to run into energy constraints, right? Because I don't think anyone's built a gigawatt single training cluster yet.
For the second part, we have Andrew Ng talk in AI Fun, which he mentioned about the importance of agentic AI.
Non-agentic workflow where you type a prompt and generates an answer. And that's a bit like if you ask a person to write an essay on a topic, and I say, please sit down at the keyboard and just type the essay from start to finish without ever using backspace. And despite how hard this is, LLMs do it remarkably well. In contrast, with an agentic workflow, this is what it may look like. Have an AI, have an LLM, say, write an essay outline. Do you need to do any web research? If so, let's do that. Then write the first draft, and then read your own first draft and think about what parts need revision. And then revise your draft, and you go on and on. And so this workflow is much more iterative, where you may have the LLM do some thinking, and then revise this article, and then do some more thinking and iterate this through a number of times. And what not many people appreciate is this delivers remarkably better result.
It is about how LLM can actually correct itself. So let's say when you want to ask a person to write a code, the person, no matter how experienced they are, they will not write the code, all of them from the beginning, without looking back and see what they did. So what does it mean? It means that it makes a lot more sense if we ask the LLM to outline the question first and then try to come up with the ways to write them. Or basically another way is how the LLM can be used to correct itself. For example, you can ask it to populate the code for a specific part of your task, and then ask again the same question and try to find the error in its own code, and you will see that it can spot the error and try to come up with a solution for them. We also see that inside the React framework, when we want to ask the user to not only reason but also ask. If you want to get more information on this topic, make sure to watch this video that I talk about how to effectively communicate with LLMs. Thanks for watching until the end of the video. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comment what do you think I need to talk about in the next video. Thank you, until the next one.